So we're diving into the world of cells this time. Those tiny building blocks that make up, well, everything.
Right, and it's amazing how much is going on at that microscopic level, stuff we don't even think about, but that keeps us running.
Like a whole hidden universe inside each of us.
Absolutely, and one of the most fundamental things about cells is how they maintain balance, how they keep everything running smoothly, even when things around them are changing.
Not the homeostasis, right?
Exactly. It's like, imagine a cell is like a busy city.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
There's always something going on, right? Nutrients need to be delivered, waste needs to be taken out, and everything has to stay within a very specific range of conditions to work properly.
So homeostasis is how the cell keeps everything in order amidst all that chaos.
Precisely. It's the cell's way of regulating its internal environment no matter what's happening externally.
And I'm guessing cellular transport is a big part of how that happens, all that moving stuff in and out.
You got it. It's basically how cells move materials across their membranes, like those little gateways controlling what comes and goes.
So what kind of things are we talking about here? What's being transported?
Oh, all sorts of essential stuff. Oxygen for energy, glucose.
Like fuel for the cell?
Exactly. And then, of course, it's got to get rid of waste products, too.
Right. Can't have those building up.
And the way things are transported can vary, too. Some molecules just kind of passively diffuse across the membrane.
Like just slipping through.
Yeah, exactly. But others need more active transport, which uses energy. It's like,
More involved process.
yeah. And all of this whole intricate transport system, it's vital for maintaining that balance, that homeostasis we were talking about.
Makes sense. If that transport system breaks down, I'd imagine things could go wrong pretty quickly.
Oh, absolutely. It can lead to all sorts of problems. Now, speaking of keeping things running,
Yeah.
we got to talk about how cells get the energy to do all this in the first place. And for that, we need to talk about photosynthesis.
Okay, so from the bustling city of the cell to what, like the power plant?
Exactly. Photosynthesis is how plants, use sunlight to make their own energy.
Right, right. I remember learning about this way back when.
Well, basically, plants take light energy, water, and carbon dioxide, and they turn it into glucose, which is a type of sugar.
So they're like these little energy factories powered by the sun.
Exactly. And it's not just for them either, right? We benefit from that energy too.
Because we eat plants.
Right.
Or we eat animals that eat plants.
Exactly. But then the question is, how do we actually use that plant-derived energy? How do our bodies access it? Well, that's where cellular respiration comes in. It's how our cells break down that glucose, that energy from plants, and turn it into a form we can actually use.
So it's like we're plugging into the energy grid that plants create through photosynthesis.
Exactly. And this whole process, it happens in these little organelles within our cells called mitochondria.
Mitochondria, right. The powerhouses of the cell. I knew that one.
Yeah. They're essential for extracting the energy stored in glucose. And they need oxygen to do it, which is, why we breathe.
Ah, so that's where oxygen fits into the picture. That's aerobic respiration, right?
Yeah, exactly. Aerobic means with oxygen, and it's very efficient, produces a lot of ATP.
Right, ATP. You mentioned that earlier. Remind me again, what exactly is ATP?
Okay, so think of ATP as like the energy currency of the cell.
Okay, I like that analogy.
So when our mitochondria break down glucose during respiration, they use the energy that's released to make these ATP molecules. And then anytime the cell needs energy to do something like contract a muscle or send a nerve impulse, it uses ATP, like it's spending its energy dollars.
So our bodies are converting energy from food into this cellular currency,
Mm,
ATP, that powers everything we do.
precisely. And it's really remarkable how efficient the whole process is. But, our cells also have this backup plan for when oxygen is low.
Oh, right, like when you're working out really hard, that's anaerobic respiration, right?
You got it. That burning sensation in your muscles, that's partly from anaerobic respiration. Your cells are trying to keep up with the energy demand, but they don't have enough oxygen.
And it's not as efficient as aerobic respiration.
No, it produces less ATP, and it creates lactic acid as a byproduct, which is what contributes to that muscle soreness. But it's a vital mechanism. It lets our cells keep going, at least for a bit, even when oxygen is low.
It's like a whole other gear that our cells can shift into when they need to.
Exactly. And it all comes back to this amazing cycle of energy flow. Plants capture light energy, convert it to glucose. We eat plants, or animals that ate plants, and then our cells break down that glucose, ultimately producing ATP, the energy currency for, well, everything we do.
Wow, it really puts into perspective how interconnected all these processes are.
It really does. And it's not just us. Plants have a mitochondria too. They go through cellular respiration as well.
Oh, right, because they need to use the energy they create too.
Exactly. And speaking of energy creation, we can't forget chloroplasts if mitochondria are like the power plants of the cell.
Solar plasts are like the solar panels,
That's a great way to put it. They're the ones responsible for capturing that light energy during photosynthesis.
but they're driving the whole system,
Mm.
really. It's incredible to think that all these processes we've been talking about, photosynthesis, respiration, even cellular transport, they're happening inside of us right now.
It really is amazing, this whole elegant, efficient system just ticking away, keeping us going.
It really makes you appreciate the complexity of life, even at that microscopic level. But as fascinating as all this is, I'm wondering, why should someone listening to this care about what's going on inside their cells? What's the takeaway?
Well, I think for one thing, understanding these processes can really help us make better choices for our health, right? Like
Yeah.
knowing that our cells need glucose for energy, that can inform our decisions about what we eat.
It's like you wouldn't put the wrong fuel in your car, so
Exactly. And it goes beyond just us too, right? When we understand photosynthesis, we see how crucial plants are to, well, all life on Earth.
because they're the ones making that energy in the first place.
Exactly. They're the foundation of the whole food chain.
It really highlights how interconnected everything is, you
Yeah.
know. Protecting our environment, it's not just about some abstract idea of nature, it's about protecting the very processes that keep us alive.
Exactly. Everything from every breath we take to every thought we have, it all comes back to these amazing biological processes.
This has been a fascinating deep dive. It really makes you think.
It's a whole hidden world, isn't it?
It is. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, from the bustling cities of our cells to the global energy cycle. It's incredible to gain a deeper understanding of these processes that we often take for granted.
And to think, we've really only scratched the surface.
We have. But that's the beauty of it. There's always more to learn, more to explore. So on that note, we'll leave you with this. Take a moment to appreciate the incredible symphony of life happening inside you right now. From the intricate dance of cellular transport to the energy being generated within your mitochondria. It's a truly remarkable thing. And if this deep dive has piqued your curiosity, keep that sense of wonder alive and keep exploring. There's a whole world of fascinating discoveries out there waiting for you.
Until next time.
Keep those questions coming.